We often think of extreme self-reliance as this superpower, right? The ability to just handle everything all on your own. It's something we celebrate as a sign of incredible strength. But what if that armor you're so proud of is actually really, really heavy? What if it's weighing you down more than it's protecting you? Okay, let's get into this.
I'll just do it myself. Come on, we've all said it. And in that moment, it feels good. It feels capable, strong, like you're in control. But more often than not, that simple phrase is hiding a much deeper story. A story about why leaning on other people can feel not just kind of hard, but genuinely unsafe.
And this right here is the absolute heart of it. We have a fundamental misunderstanding of what this is. We tend to call it a personality trait. Oh, that's just how she is. She's super independent. But what we're learning is that it's not about who you are. It's about what you survived. It's a strategy, a survival strategy you learned. So let's be super clear. Hyper-independence isn't just being self-sufficient or liking to do things your own way. It goes way beyond that. It's an extreme kind of self-reliance, one where you feel this compulsion to handle it all by yourself. You refuse help even when you desperately need it, and it's all because of this deep, deep-seated belief that depending on anyone else is just not safe. Okay, so where in the world does a blueprint like that even come from? How does that armor get forged in the first place? Well, to figure that out, we have to go back. We have to look at the kind of environments that make a defense mechanism this strong feel absolutely necessary. And you have to appreciate the logic here. You really do. This isn't some flaw in your character, it's an absolutely brilliant adaptation. As a kid, your developing brain is just trying to make sense of the world. And if your experiences teach you that the people you're supposed to count on are unreliable or just not there, well, you make a very logical conclusion. If I don't need anything from anyone, then no one can hurt me. No one can let me down. And this strategy is usually born from some very specific childhood experiences. Things like emotional neglect, where your feelings were just consistently ignored. Or something called parentification, where you basically had to be the adult in the room. Maybe caregiving was just totally inconsistent, or you experienced a major betrayal. All of these things, they all teach a child the exact same lesson. The only person you can truly rely on is you. Let's dig into that term, parentification, for a second, because it's a huge piece of the puzzle. This is a role reversal where a kid is forced to take on adult responsibilities. Maybe you are managing your parents' emotions or raising your younger siblings. Essentially, you had to suppress your own needs. You didn't get to be a kid. And you learned very quickly that needing help was a luxury you just couldn't afford. And listen, this isn't just a nice theory. The research is clear. A 2025 university study, for instance, found a direct statistical link. This number, R equals 0.358, shows a significant, positive, moderate relationship between childhood trauma and hyper-independence later in life. So the data is really backing this up. It's a real, measurable connection. So, we've pretty much established the why behind this. Now, let's shift gears and look at the what. What does this armor actually look and feel like in day-to-day life? How can you start to spot these patterns, maybe in yourself or even in people you care about?
Before I just list a bunch of signs, just take a second. Ask yourself this, honestly. Does the thought of asking for help fill you with anxiety? Do you feel, guilty when you have to rely on someone? Is it 1,000 times easier for you to be the helper than to be the one who needs help?
On the inside, hyper-independence can feel like a constant battle. It's that nagging difficulty in trusting people, even people who have never given you a reason not to. It's that jolt of anxiety or even annoyance you feel when someone offers you a hand. And it's that huge, overwhelming fear that if you show your needs, you'll just be a burden on everyone. And of course, all those internal feelings, they show up in your actions. It's that automatic, nope, I got it, thanks. It's why you can't delegate tasks at work and end up buried in stuff you shouldn't be doing alone. And this is the big one. It's that reflex to pull away and isolate yourself when times get tough. The exact moment you need people the most. And you know where that road leads? Straight to burnout. Which brings us to the hidden cost. Because that strategy, the one that was so crucial for you to survive as a kid, can become a massive obstacle to your happiness as an adult. That protective shield you've been carrying, well, it starts to get incredibly heavy. And its impact is huge. Look, it prevents real connection, because you can't have intimacy without vulnerability. It's a direct line to burnout, because we're not meant to carry the world alone. It actually makes you feel more lonely. It can damage relationships with people who just feel shut out, and in the end, it really limits your own personal growth. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The armor that once protected the child eventually becomes a cage for the adult.
It perfectly captures that paradox. The thing that kept you safe now keeps you trapped. It keeps you from the very connection and support that make life rich and meaningful.
But, and this is a big but, here is the hopeful part. Just understanding that this is a trauma response, and not some permanent flaw in your personality. That's the first huge step on the path forward. It is absolutely possible to move out of that constant survival mode and into a place where you can actually thrive. Let me be really clear here. The goal isn't to become needy or dependent. The goal is healthy interdependence. It's about shifting from that rigid black and white belief that says I must do everything alone to be safe, to a much more flexible and true mindset that says I am strong and self-reliant, and I can also build trust and let others support me.
So how do you even begin to do that? Well, it starts with small, really practical steps. First, just acknowledge it for what it is, a trauma response. Name it and try to do it without judging yourself. Then you have to start challenging those core beliefs. Ask yourself, is it really weak to need help? Third, you have to practice receiving. Start tiny. Let someone hold the door for you. Let a friend buy you a coffee. And finally, you have to work on self-compassion. Give yourself the kindness that you probably didn't get when you needed it the most.
Now, for a lot of people, professional help is a total game changer here. Different kinds of therapy can help. Something like CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is great for challenging those core beliefs. EMDR can help your brain reprocess some of those early memories that set this all in motion. And somatic therapy is amazing for helping your actual body learn that it's safe to let your guard down. We're going to end on this thought. The bravest, most courageous thing a hyper-independent person can do is to learn a new phrase. It's to stop saying I'm sorry for having needs and to start, maybe just quietly at first, saying I'm here and I need you. Because that vulnerability, that's not the risk you fear it is. It's the doorway to a life that's not just about surviving, but about being truly, deeply alive.